So I just wanted to share some ways that I try to make my slides more accessible for students, particularly for students who are blind or have visual impairments, color blindness, dyslexia, or other kinds of disabilities that might affect vision or reading. And so in particular, I want to pay attention to things like the slide background. Generally, trying to avoid images or patterns, especially really busy ones, can make a big difference because these can make text hard to see. I like to use an off-white or a pastel background color. Is usually best with dark or black text. You want to make sure that you get really good contrast between the text and any images and the background. White backgrounds can cause some glare from what I've read, and I've noticed this myself as well. And so usually I will change the background color. You can do this by going into Design and Format Background and choosing Solid and then picking a color. You can pick a color on these theme colors or just a light color up in one of these pastel areas. You can also do more colors and find another color that you like. I usually, you can also go in here into the custom colors if you know the codes for those. And that will give you the ability to format that background color. Again, usually solids are best and usually something light or pastel, but I try to avoid white. And again, this is if I'm using dark text. For font, I try to use a sans serif font. And so that really just allows for really good spacing between letters and things like that. It makes the text a little bit less cluttered looking. Again, usually black or dark color text. You'll see that. I'll show a couple more examples as I scroll down here. Things like dark blue, dark green, maroon are also really good choices. We try to avoid things that are hard to get good contrast with the background. So things like orange and red, no matter what your background is, it can be hard to get good contrast with those. I also want to try to avoid background and text color combinations that might cause after images. And I can give a little more detail about that. I want to make sure that all of your text, of course, is large enough. So I like to make sure that the font size is pretty large. I usually try to not go under a font size of about 24-point font. Usually I try to go a little bit bigger. And you also want to make sure that you're spacing out your lines. So if I kind of highlight over here and look at my line spacing, I usually like to make sure that my line spacing is at about 1.5. This is, again, really going to make sure that everything is, nothing's too cluttered looking. There's lots of space between the text, and that's really going to improve readability. On that same note, trying to avoid italics and underlines when you can really help with this too. You'll see here that for emphasizing something, I try to use bold instead. Try to use it pretty sparingly, but that will help not take up more room really and not making things look cluttered, but allow us to emphasize things. With trying to change the spacing and trying to make sure that everything is spaced out, large font sizes, obviously you're also going to fit less content onto a single slide. I like to remember, this has been a really good reminder for me actually, that we're not really limited to how many slides that we can use usually, especially for class. And so that enables me to just kind of break up an idea into sections instead of trying to get one idea onto a single slide or one topic onto a single slide, trying to break that topic up over more than one slide. And so here we can see that I kind of start this idea, and then on the next slide, I might have one kind of idea continued and then change only part of the slide to kind of give some continuity, make sure that students know that this is kind of under the same heading and in the same idea, on the same topic, but also make sure that I'm able to spread out information. I do sometimes use text boxes to give additional information. Again, make sure that the font size and the spacing and everything is good in those text boxes. Also trying to make sure that they're light colors. You'll see also that sometimes I'll use another color to emphasize information. So this down here is bold, and I also made it a dark blue to kind of stand out a little bit more from the rest of the black text.